I have been a student of the afterlife for most of my life. I have always had experiences and premonitions. Years ago, I began experiencing spontaneous out-of-body experiences, also known as OBEs. I became part of the universe. I could see the earth, like looking at a snowball that you shake. I instantly felt the connection that we all have with each other. I felt the overwhelming, unconditional love. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in that love. Since my husband and soulmate Pete has passed to the other side of life, he also sends me that same unconditional love that overwhelms me and brings tears to my eyes. My question for those of you who have had NDEs, when you came back, did you start to have OBEs? Or suddenly find yourself astral traveling if you had not done it before your NDE? Hope my question is not too confusing. This story was shared by Michelle Matthews. I had hepatitis and was not expected to live. At the time, there was no medication available for recovery except hospitalization, so I opted to stay at home and pass away quietly. I remember the thud when I was sent back and landed in my body, half on the bed and half on the floor. I was met by a being whose gender I couldn't distinguish. They told me it wasn't my time and I was being sent back to help people with communication and healing. They said I was a medium, a term I didn't understand since I knew nothing about mediums. Things became strange. I was drawn to Virginia Beach to the Edgar Cayce Institute. I experienced out-of-body flying and saw old gray battleships, remembering a number on one. The next day, I took a water tour and saw the same number in boat. I met an ordinary man at Casey's who told me again that I was a medium. He advised me to stop smoking cigarettes as they were blocking my gift, which I still had no knowledge of. He also told me to learn how to meditate and about something called automatic writing, both foreign concepts to my high-energy, jumping personality. One night, as I lay on my bed trying to meditate, I felt my body becoming cold despite the summer heat. My eyes started to flutter, and I was so frightened that I decided to stop and get up. I walked in the bathroom, shaking with cold, and glanced in the mirror. To my horror, my face was not my own but that of another woman, and it was not pretty. I was freezing in the middle of summer with someone else's face transposed onto mine, and my mouth kept moving and trying to talk without my control. Terrified, I called a neighbor to come over. I put on a fur coat because I was so cold, even though it was August. My neighbor thought I was having a breakdown until I started telling her things about her past that only she knew. I was nearly scared to death. As the woman tried to ask me questions, I would first hear the answers in my head and then speak them aloud. I remembered what the man at Casey's had told me about automatic writing. I put a pen to the paper and it started to move and write. The woman was the deceased wife of the man I was dating, looking for a mother for her children. This was my introduction to mediumship, and it was very frightening. In May of 2023, I had a near-death experience. I know there is an afterlife and eternity after death. I have been there. I saw a white light and what looked like electrical sparks in front of me. Behind me, there was red and darkness bursting through purple-stained glass on my right and orange to the left. I felt a presence on my right side. I saw images of what was going on in each corner: the light, the sparks, the red space, and the darkness. I felt like I was floating, an open feeling. Images of my life in black, white, and gray. I also was looking down at myself lying there on machines and people or something around me. 16 days on life support, organs failed, only some brain activity. Mom was asked if she wanted to continue me on life support or not. She said no, Laura would want to live. I came back, can't explain what I feel like because it's inexplicable. It just had to be there. I slowly recovered. And now I am living life thankful for Jesus taking me to see the end and God bringing me back. This story was shared by Lolo Rose and happened in 2023. Story 4. I experienced the void, and when I felt myself pulling into the void, I was overcome with the most profound emotions and thoughts, quickly flooding through me all at once. My soul called out to God and said I wasn't ready yet. It has been 4 months today since my experience. I have thought about it every day since. I no longer fear dying. I have found that when I hear the song Lift Me Up by Rihanna, I feel my experience so strongly all over again. It truly does bring back the emotions that were flooding through my soul while I was pulling to the void, and how I felt when I knew I was departing from this life I had known here on earth and going to this place, the void, that I sensed I knew all along. Has anybody else found a song or something that brings you back to the memory of your experience or brings back some of the feelings you had during your experience? This song just brings me back to my experience. The void I was entering and pulling into was a place or realm of awareness. It felt like a place of being cradled in calmness, quietness, darkest of dark, yet I still felt the tiniest slither of life clinging onto my body because I wasn't ready to leave my children and my fiancé behind. I felt so many emotions flooding through. Without thinking, my soul began calling out to God because I wasn't ready to leave my kids behind. And then I was completely back in my body. I was so confused afterwards how I was still here on earth. I felt I had known the void all along, and I was going home. This story was shared by Ashley Jones and happened in 2024.